Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into New World News, and I am officially moved into my new office and recording space so I can start putting up videos for you guys as promised. And man, what a video to start with today. Google it, Yahoo it, Bing it, I don't care what you do. Dr. Fauci's FOIA requested emails were released today. Literally thousands of these emails through the Freedom of Information Act show how incompetent and ridiculous this country has been to continue to listen to Dr. Anthony Fauci on anything. So let me give you guys a lesson on politics in the world, especially in 2021, 2022, moving forward after this. Follow the money. People are paid to do and say things that they otherwise wouldn't normally say and do, or paid to say things that they don't know or that are jumping the gun. Dr. Fauci originally said that masks wouldn't actually protect anybody and should only be worn by people who were infected, not by people who were not infected, because it was only about like spreading it to other people, right? That's what should happen. And that the mask didn't stop particles that were that small. And we all saw that in the social media posts and memes about spray paints and different, dust and things getting through. It was always possible. Now, people say, oh, we know it's not 100%, but it helps. It really doesn't help anything. Masks have never helped anything. Fauci admitted it. But the minute he was told by his superiors to push the mask mandate as a way for people to make money and as a way for them to continue the narrative, that is when he flip-flopped Fauci over to wear a mask, wear 2 masks, wear 3 masks. I mean, good Lord. Look, the guy didn't condemn Nancy Pelosi when she got a blowout at her San Francisco salon about not wearing a mask, which she wasn't. And he was consistently caught taking off his mask right after a TV camera would go away. He'd throw it away. And it was just a horse and pony show, essentially, right? Whether you believe in masks or not, I mean, the guy, these are his own words. The own words of the guy telling you to wear a mask, telling you that it was worthless, and then doing exactly the opposite of what he was telling you. So, I mean, this isn't me being an anti-masker or me telling you not to wear a mask. This is me telling you the guy that you believed in is the one that told you. But let's look at his emails today, which I will link you some stories. You can go read them all. I'm sure they're publicly posted on some website. We look at Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky, who tweeted, "I told you so." Told you is 2 words. Apparently in early 2020 into the spring of 2020, as the pandemic started to grow, Dr. Fauci said, or was informed that this could be a lab-created Wuhan lab of virology, lab man-made, created and released pandemic, a virus. And he blatantly said this was transmitted from animals to humans via that wet meat market in Wuhan. And it is coming out now that we're in June of 2021, more and more evidence that this actually started in a lab and was genetically, humanly made and sent out into the world, either on accident or purpose. As we scroll up through some of the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act emails from Dr. Fauci back in the spring of 2020, we scrolled down, and Rand Paul, of course, said, can't wait to see the media try to spin these. They always try to spin them. But as we scroll back down, more and more credibility is happening among members of the media, even members that support Dr. Fauci. A claim made during the May 25th congressional hearing that the $600,000, this is late 2019, early 2020, the U.S. government gave a $600,000 federal grant from the NIAID, did not directly fund the lab's gain-of-function research, which was also found to be false. In other words, the U.S. government gave the Wuhan lab $600,000 to fund gain-of-function. And so what a gain-of-function is basically they take a virus strain and they try to make it worse in a lab in order to get it as bad as they can so that they can work on vaccines and preventions to kill it at its worst. The problem is if you genetically engineer this thing to get worse and it gets out, now we've got a real problem, right? The grant went to a group called Eco Health Alliance, which then paid the Wuhan Institute of Virology to study the risk that bat coronaviruses could infect humans. So he didn't give the money directly. I didn't give you money to do what you want. I gave it over here to Billy, and Billy gave it to Susie. They think that like moving this money around is going to be some kind of like cover your butt. It doesn't work that way, right? So Francis Collins, the director of NIH, said earlier in the hearing that the taxpayer-funded grant to EcoHealth, mind you, my tax dollars paid that, and the Wuhan Institute of Virology was not approved to conduct gain-of-function research. So that money wasn't even supposed to be used for what they used it for. Some Republicans, including Paul, maintain that the NIAID money under Fauci's purview did in fact go to the Wuhan Institute of Virology to conduct those gain-of-function researches, which raises ethical safety and security concerns among politicians and scientists. So the claim, and people call this conspiracy theories, and people were crazy with 10 hats 6 months and a year ago. The claim is they gave money to this group that paid the lab to research these viruses. And the idea was that at the beginning of the molehill back here, these guys, Fauci and all these people, knew that this was going to get out and do what it did, and they were able to profit off of it. Listen, Dr. Anthony Fauci has made millions of dollars off of this pandemic. His $400,000 paycheck, $420,000 paycheck, was number one in the federal government. The guy makes more money than the sitting U.S. president, right, or any president. He's made millions off of this. Fauci acknowledges in his email that the gain-of-function supervirus could escape a lab and cause a pandemic, but that it's worth the risk. So this guy gets 600 grand, passes it along, is told it's not supposed to be for that, okays it, gives the money up, and then says, hey, I know some real bad stuff could happen, but yeah, it's worth it. I don't care, right? His naivetiveness should be disqualifying from government service. He should be fired and arrested. Yes, absolutely. You don't get to act this way, right? And a lot of people called this lab leak theory as a conspiracy and are now like, oops. In an April 17th email obtained by the outlet, Fauci said coronavirus mutations that led to COVID-19 are totally consistent with a jump of a species from an animal to a human rather than a lab leak. Peter Daszak, president of EcoHealth, personally thanked Fauci for supporting that evidence that COVID-19 came from an animal rather than the Wuhan lab in the April 18, 2020 email. However, it's now showing that it could have absolutely came from the lab and most likely did. The NIAID director said during the May 25th House Appropriations Committee subcommittee hearing that he has no objections to an investigation of China's early handling of the pandemic. Fauci also said in the emails BuzzFeed released that store-bought masks would not be completely effective in preventing COVID-19. And so as we scroll down, there's just more talk about that. It talks about Fauci's flip-flopping on certain COVID-19 related subjects. U.S. this spring, as they decreased significantly, more people got vaccines. A May 23rd Wall Street Journal report citing undisclosed U.S. intelligence documents found that some of the Wuhan Institute of Virology workers who fell ill in late 2019 required hospital care, lending weight to what some have dubbed the lab leak theory. Of course, absolutely, they would have been the first. The State Department acknowledged in January 2021 that the United States government has reason to believe that several researchers inside the Wuhan Institute of Virology became sick in autumn 2019. It found that they've experienced symptoms consistent with both COVID-19 and common seasonal illnesses. The Wuhan Institute of Virology is one of China's top virus research labs, built in an archaic of genetic information about bat coronaviruses after the 2003 outbreak of severe acute respiratory syndrome, that's SARS. The journal reported that the veracity of the intelligence is being debated by current and former officials. The paper reported that China has denied any allegation that the virus was somehow leaked from the lab. China's gonna deny that up and down. Of course they are. But here's the thing: there's too many coincidences, right? Too many people flip-flopping. Too many of the workers that actually got sick. It's just way too many coincidences for this to not have some substance. Not to mention the whole wet market theory. Absolutely, some of these people could have went to the wet market and spread it, and then it spread even worse through the wet market. I'm not going to deny that it didn't go through that Chinese meat market, either through some of the workers that might have went there in the first days that they got sick. They're out shopping for food for their families, or maybe they were friends with some of the workers and it spread through a couple of those people, and then obviously in the wet market, just everywhere, fluids and blood. Great, but where it actually started, why would it have started in a wet market? Through a bat, through a dead bat? Is it possible? Sure. Did it likely happen? No. Most likely it happened in that Institute of Virology. They got sick and they went out in the world and spread it to a few dozen people who then spread it and so on and so forth. But to openly deny that because it doesn't fit the narrative is typical Dr. Anthony Fauci, all day, all night, every day till now. He'll never let this go. that he was right. He never flip-flopped. He never did anything wrong, and he did. And so there's his, FOIA, Freedom of Information leaked emails. Feel free to read them. In the meantime, leave in the comments what you think. How did COVID start? Did it start in that lab? Did it start in the wet market? Did it spread? How did it spread? What do you think of Fauci's emails flip-flopping, saying that there's no way, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, maybe it did? What do you guys think of all this? I'll leave it to you guys down in the comment section below as always. Thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. It's really, really important that you are subscribed. Even if you don't watch future videos, just subscribe to the channel. It'll help me out and help boost this channel so we can get as many of these stories out to the people that need to see them as possible. Thank you guys so much. Can't wait to get the green screen in the backgrounds working for you. And until next time, have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you then, guys.